Alright, ladies and gentlemen, gang, are we done?
Yeah.
Done? So let's make it okay. This team has spotted 3 tails, so 3 out of 4. This team has spotted 3 tails, 3 out of 5. How many tails have you spotted?
1.
All 5.
Oh, cheating.
They made it easy.
So maybe now they're being good with us. So 5 out of 5 you're able to spot a 9. Wow. Either that two or you guys play pakar. Anyway, thanks. So let's reflect now basically what the activity meant. So how would you rate in terms of the activity discussion? How were you able to spot those lines? Maybe let's call this group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1, maybe how were you able to spot the line? What made you know that there was a line spotted 3 out of 5 lines or tails?
Too bad to be true. Like I said, I met Trump before. It's like too bad to be true.
Okay, too bad to be true. Okay, so that's one. So you basically, it wasn't a solid information.
Yeah.
Into
Body language.
body language. So either you're not good liars or you're really an expert body language.
Yeah.
So I must really stand for it. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
So because you'll be reading my body language too, right? So yeah, gestures. Again, that's also what we call defining or understanding personas of human beings. Reading and body language. In 3. How are you able to spot that line 3 out of 4 times? Persistent. Assistant. Oh, assistant. Like pause. So again,
Language.
there's no commitment. That means you are not even maybe strong in terms of your passion or commitment to the fact, right? So those are basically spot the tail. Let's reflect on it. So you say basically number 1, it's too good to be true. It's not a solid information and you can't spot it. Talk about reading the body language, like so it's also related to this, stammering or hesitant, so you're not fully committed, not motivated. So what did we learn out of this experience actually? It's just short gameplay in this workshop today. It's our first game for the next 2 days. So what did we learn? Any experience or anyone want to share some reflection?
What if those are the thoughts that clients have on us when we pitch something?
So that means
What if
we talking about perception, right?
Yeah, perception of clients when we pitch, they have those assumptions towards us that could also jeopardize the trust, the first impressions and all. So how do we because it's not we ourselves to do the pitch, maybe newcomers to the pitch or encourage newcomers to the pitch. How do we bring down or lessen the damage for those first impression, impact.
First impression, perception. Yeah. So again, what you're saying is also related to the fact that we're dealing with human beings, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about human interaction. So anyone else from group 3? Maybe what do you learn out of this? What's your take or reflection?
Ask the right question.
Ask the right question.
Yeah. Whether he's thinking.
That was too direct, right? Group 2? What do you learn? What's your reflection of the activity? What could you learn from the experience that you actually were able to spot? You mentioned about CD, reading the body language. Here we have about perception, asking right questions from you. How do you relate that?
Why does it have a little of intuition?
Intuition, interesting. That's quite interesting. Intuition is not about giving tuition. It's gut feel. You know, it's also important to have a strong gut feel. Yeah, but gut feel can be validated with solid information. Because when you want to address customer expectations or anyone, that gut feel helps you to really commit to the facts that you want to build a solid info for your pitch. So thank you for that. So clarifying basically is one of the key things also in the group. You also learn more about your colleagues sitting in this table today. Some of you have just gotten to know each other just this morning. But you know now a bit more about the person that's sitting right in front of you or next to you. You know what their favorite food is, or maybe not. Who they've met in their life or no. Yeah, and their hobby and pastime. Can be true, can be not true, but you've discovered that with a short frame of time, less than 10 minutes, immediately something very personal too about your colleagues or your acquaintances. So again, relate that to how powerful it is to interact with not just customers, but individuals in any organization you work for or you work with. The next point will be testing, right? Before you even discover that it was a body language that gave out the truth, he was telling a lie, or the facts doesn't seem right because you had that perception on him. For example, he said he met Trump, but yeah, really met Trump. He said, I have met Trump. He said, I have. I'm not sure if you believe there's a deal or not, but I do. I have met Trump. But not Donald Trump. There's some Trump in the roadside, LA streets. But anyway, so you would test out the idea, right? You were looking at the fact that was presented to you. You try to clarify by seeing whether it's the right information, whether it looks like or not, but you even test it out, right? For example, whether you deliberately did it, realize that you did it, but you were testing like, are you sure or not? The fact that he's a local guy who's never been out of Malaysia, for example, and have met like President Obama, for example, like, that can't be because you were testing it based on the parameters that you know that person was in that kind of environment. So clarifying, testing, so these are key traits and elements that's important as well when we deal with anybody.
I don't want to hijack your meeting. I like this game, and I'm not sure I'm saying something which is now contradicting to your workshop, then I have to apologize. But I really love that game because when I listen to the conversations, right, and to the outcome now, and to your reflection now, I'm always saying to my team members, instead of sending an email to your customer, visit the customer. And what I mean by that is, if you would have done the same session, you would have asked all of them, hey, send emails around and try to find out what is the truth and what is the tale. It would have, you will find out as well. It takes you maybe 3 or 4 hours, and this is all, you get to the result. But sales for me is always interacting with people. Face to face is better than email. It's my phrase, right? So, and this is, in 10 minutes you found out what is the tale. By email, you would have maybe 3 bullet points, and then no body language, no interaction. So I think this is really good to see. It's good learning for me as well. That it's quite fast. Now you know a lot of things about your team members here on the table.
Exactly. So
just talking.
Tucker, thank you very much for the feedback. So in fact, again, that's also one thing that we're talking about human interaction. Everything we do in our day-to-day activities, even at home, we're dealing with human beings, right? Of course, people say AI is going to rule the world, but AI is not going to be able to do anything else more than accept the fact that there's a human behind it. So it's still a human interaction or human interface. But all in all, we are dealing with people. Right? We talk about customers, people, we talk about behaviors, we talk about human dealings. It's all about people. So face-to-face element and engagement is very, very important. Not just field sales, not just field service, but any sales initiative that you do in life. As I mentioned, when you go for interviews, how many of you can agree to the idea that I know some of us have had to go through like online interviews, and even after that, there's a requirement to have a physical face-to-face interview maybe towards the final selection process. But I'm sure everyone can also agree that the energy and also the impact is much different when you see people face to face. Because again, that's what we are human beings. We deal with humans. When it comes to that, it's always important that every single point of time, even by simply asking the right question to understand about someone's behavior or tale or lie or even truths, you're asking by this approach, right? You're trying to clarify, you're trying to probe, and you're also testing whether it's correct or not, because you want that assumption to be validated, because you need solid information before you are able to commit or validate whether it's a tale or not. Right? So these are the reflections I think you can probably try to digest, because ultimately it all relates back to all the points that we started to discuss about an hour ago. Yeah, talking about understanding of needs, understanding of pain points, solid information. And to get information, you got to be resourceful. And you were demonstrating that you were resourceful, correct? Or you were trying to read the body language to see whether it's a tail, you're looking whether comparing the facts, you know, like, can't be sorry. And you were looking at speech behavior. So you were resourceful using every element familiar to you to try and find that thing. So similarly in these activities that we're going to go through the 2 days of field sales and field service, it's the same basic human science. Trying to dig in for more information, extract more real information to make sense and make meaning so that we can have actionable data and actionable information. Again, the cycle goes on again to be reason is because we want to have this value operating the right piece, the right decision maker. So you can see it's an iterative process, it's like a loop. You will always go back to the whole thing, which is decision maker, solution selling, rapport and trust, competency. So I hope within this short span of exercise that we conducted in just 10 or 15 minutes, it's already a true demonstration of this field sales and field service science. With that, I think let's take a break for maybe 15 minutes. We'll come back at 10:45 and we'll start the next session of module.